Okay. Come on in, settle down, everybody. How was that 8-minute break where we offered you nothing but water? But don't worry, lunch is in an hour already, and I've seen the feast that they have laid on for you. Boy, you're in for a treat. I have not seen the feast. I have no idea what it is. Okay, but I'm sure it'll be lovely. All right, if you've just joined us, where have you been? You missed a fantastic session with Ben Cooper before. Settle down now. Quiet at the back. All those crazy kids at the back row. We've got another fantastic session for you now. And joining me on stage here is Mr. Dennis Clark. Give Dennis a little round of applause. Dennis loves nothing more than helping talents and programmers make great radio. Would you say that's true?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, you've got to use your microphone, obviously.
It works.
Good.
Okay, good.
Okay,
It didn't for a sec. Okay, good.
And that's why we're here today. Dennis's track record of coaching and developing programmers is second to none. This is your chance to tap into his knowledge. There are no slides on this one. There's no bits of audio. This is a conversation with all of us. So we've warmed up now. We're okay. We're going to get into this, and we need lots of questions from you guys. I've got a few to kick us off. And if you've ever struggled with talent, if you've ever thought, how do I get this person to do the thing that I want to do, to get it into the strategy of the radio station, this is the session. We're going to get into that. Managing talent is hard, but it's really, really rewarding when you get it right. From new entrants, Ben was talking about earlier, starting off into the industry, through to big established stars and getting the best out of them, getting from 98 to 99% to 100%. And every show, every personality is different. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. But today we're going to chat all about that. We're going to have some questions and hopefully some good answers as well. Should we take a seat?
Hopefully. Okay, that's good.
Why don't we sit down? We can stand up and sit down.
There we go. Okay.
Anything you want. Okay. So here's how it's going to work. I got a few questions. We'd love to hear from yours. We got a roving microphone, which is going to rove around, and we'll hear from you. Welcome, firstly. How are you? You okay?
I'm great.
You had a week in France. You were in France before you came here, and now you're here in lovely Greece.
Yes, I work for the energy group there.
Excellent.
So
anything to get away from America, right? At the moment. Yeah. We won't get into that. We won't get into that. Okay.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Really sorry.
We'll get back into that later, actually.
No.
Right, coaching talent. It's a minefield. This is a big area. Let's start at the beginning. What's the most common mistake that programmers that you've seen make when working with talent? What's the thing that people get wrong the most, perhaps?
So the biggest programmers make, I got it.
Yeah.
They don't listen to the show. Holla, don't you agree? People don't listen to their show. And I think they have all the answers. They think they know the show, but they actually don't listen to the show. And that infuriates me like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we have a lot of programmers, senior managers, all that kind of stuff. They are completely unfamiliar with the daily struggle, the daily implementation, the nuances of a daily show, and they never, because they don't listen, they actually don't congratulate them on doing a perfect execution on something. Yeah. So if you're coaching talent, the talent's like, I did it, I think that sounded really good, and then they see their manager walk down the halls, sorry, I had so many calls. Yeah. And things like that. So the answer is, please listen to the shows you work with, especially on the days you know you're going to see the talent.
I saw a programmer get caught out once. The morning show host was coming towards him. The programmer said, "Great show this morning." And the talent said, "Which bit did you like specifically?"
Bingo.
He hadn't listened to the show.
No.
And he went, All of it. It's kind of like a Trump. Which verse of the Bible do you like? All of the Bible. It's all good.
Yeah. Look at you. Come on.
Okay, I'll get off the Trump.
Let's not use that word.
Yeah, okay. So listen to the show.
Listen to the show. And I mean, you really, as a coach, you have to be on the talent side. And by the way, it's not just the senior, the kingpin talent, we might say, or the captain. It's everybody, because you might work with the producer, for example, and you might have given them a note about like finding, it's so funny, you talk about shorter pieces and things like that, but you might actually coach them to say, hey, look, that one piece was unnecessarily long. Why don't you bring it this way, kind of get to the point and go forward. And then in the hallways, you get to say, okay, the piece you had today with the Athens Marathon and the happy family that you interviewed, great point, moved on. The vibe was great. Yeah. So
okay. We've probably both experienced in our careers so far talent who's resistant to being coached, who perhaps they think they don't want any advice. They know what they want to do. They're resistant to change maybe that they need. How do you approach that with
I'll be honest, I think those people are older than I am. And I'm old, but I would honestly say that I think new talent really wants the feedback. Ben, you touched on generational issues with stations and shows, and this is just a wonderful generational moment that I've had where I never approach a talent that I'm going to work with without listening to the show, understanding what they do. And they all secretly crave feedback. Right. Secretly. Okay, so I just want to kind of like make a point out of that. I do not believe anymore in major, huge meetings. I love, because in ways, the reason why they hate feedback meetings is because as a coach, you could accidentally shame them in front of their team. Yeah. So you try to do a lot of things personally as much as possible.
So that whole kind of praise in public, criticize in private type thing as well.
Do everything one-on-one is my role, my thing, including the praise. Yeah. But it's so funny because the major host or the major producer or something actually really can be upset if I've done something in the group setting that shamed them. Yeah. And I think that that's really important to be completely aware of that activity. Even though they're on Instagram and they can read their comments and they can take it, but they can't take it when we're all together in one room.
One more from me, and then we'll open up to the floor. You work with a whole range of different levels of talent, right? So from the big stars, like who would be the biggest star that you work with?
When I go back from Athens, I work with the Breakfast Club for now, and they're celebrating their 12th year, I think, this year. Yeah. And that show is going through a modernization period right now. Yeah. Some they're doing, some ours. But this is a station in New York, and it's syndicated throughout the United States. Power 105. Yeah. Sorry, familiar with the Breakfast Club? Somebody? No? A few. Okay, good. Yeah. So this is a very big show for the company. And
what kind of stuff do you talk to them about then? Just give us an idea of that.
Look, I was with that show from the very beginning, and the most important thing I did was earn their trust. And I was always on their side. And they've had some meetings that were very upsetting, honestly, But at the same time, wow, they call me DC. So that's my, hip hop name, I guess.
Okay. You are down with that crew.
Yeah. So, man, I get it. You're right. And it's all that kind of stuff. And you just have to earn their trust. And if you see the future of their show, and I think at the time, and sometimes still today, they don't see the future of their show, They love that I see the future of their
Giving
show.
them the vision that you see and say, this is what
I
it could look
walk them towards that direction, and they have completely done their own thing with a version of what I thought the vision would be. Yeah.
Okay. Right. You'll go. Okay, straight away. We've got a hand. I like the first hand. Always a good sign. Oh, it's our friend from, let me get this right, Oman. Is that correct? Yeah, okay.
From where?
I'm trying to get the country of Oman, I suppose, right? Okay, let's
Oh, how
go.
interesting.
We got a microphone for, where's the other radio mic? There, yeah.
Yeah, she didn't expect that early.
Sunday, it's fine. Okay.
Sorry, it's me again.
No, it's fine.
So, Talal Shahri again, Sultanate of Oman. And if you weren't here earlier, I run a couple of stations and back home. One is English public radio, another is classical music, which is more of a side thing. But we had to, going on the earlier topic of we had to go local, because all of our English stations were run by British, Americans, Canadians, Indians, so we had to comb for local talent. And there was literally no one who spoke English who had any radio background. And we managed, through meeting people randomly in barbecues or music events, to create a small team. But we we still haven't gotten a big enough team. So I would ask you, since you're a person who's worked across all sorts of countries, Japan, Middle East, Australia, Greece, and God knows where else as well, how would you go about securing talent from a community or a marketplace that doesn't really have like the stars that you, for example, could rely on, whether it be Rick Dees or Charlemagne, or whether it be
Done his homework.
Yes.
or the list goes on. You've worked with some incredible people. So how would you go about working in a market? I'm wondering if you had this experience of trying to actually create a star from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
What would your main focus be?
Yeah. So Oman, right?
Correct.
Okay, good, yeah. I love the opportunity of what you are actually talking about. And when you go back, I love the philosophy of grow your own. And I think that sometimes when you hire talent from another company or another country or another, they're set in their ways, and they probably are not familiar with the actual texture of the details of living in Oman and being a listener, kind of thing. My opinion is I would start with listener appreciation lunches of some kind, see who shows up. You might get students. You might have students that might have gone to another country and learned English, if that's your issue. But I really do love grow your own. It's a lot of work, no question. I think that you're I work for ARN in Dubai, so they have 9 stations, all very different, 3 Indian stations, all that from different parts of India, very different language and everything else like that. And you've got to find them. You absolutely have to find them because they super serve that audience that you're looking for. So grow your own is, I'll see you later and I'll talk to you about that. But listener appreciation is the place to start.
Yeah.
Yes. That guy was like, me.
Hello, Dennis. It's Ross Davies here.
Okay.
Talent and coaching talent, the problem you said at the very beginning that no one has the time to go and coach the talent, and I agree with that. And I don't know if that's a problem more apparent to us in North America and Canada, but my question to you is, how do we address that? What is the solution for allowing these programmers more time when they're multitasked to death these days? A programmer today has probably 4 or 5 different jobs.
Right.
So what's the solution? Does it start at the top and a message has to get through to the top to give people more?
I'll be honest with you, Ross. I mean, it's if you don't have the time, there's nothing better when the program director, managers know that you don't have the time. Find somebody who does have the time. And I think iHeart or Clear Channel at the time came to me in 2010. I was in consulting. and they got me off the road and said, we need this for our company. And they sort of had the vision that their programmers do not have the time to work with shows, so hire somebody that really can roll up their sleeves and deal with that for you, that you completely trust. More importantly, that the talent trusts, you know. So, and there are a lot of wannabe coaches. And part of me, just they'll get better too. And you could actually coach your coaches on how to work with your talent. So don't be afraid to step into that because and release it. I think you have to now. You guys are overbooked and overscheduled. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
Answer the question.
Who's next? Down.
Thomas.
Yeah, oh, we're gonna make you work backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, but it's all good. Okay, here we go with another one.
Thank you, Thomas from the Netherlands here, former radio guy. How do you think about like using data when coaching talent? As in, for example, showing them PPM data or other analytic tools that are out there to show them, okay, this break really performed above average. This was a great one.
Okay.
And this is why. Versus this one maybe underperformed, and this is why.
Right.
Great question,
Because it can make them insecure, right?
So I completely believe, actually, to piggyback off of Ross's question, in the use of research and research insights. Sometimes I think we can get lost too much in the details. And if I stepped in on the Ben Cooper session earlier, we get into those issues with, get to the point, whatever. And we have to, for the listener's sake. These listeners, you might be about ready to talk about something they just don't care about, and storytelling will get you there. So if you care, they care is my rule. So start with the humanity first. The data is definitely part of our company and the way we offer at iHeart. I'm actually responsible for 64 shows in the United States, all different markets, Seattle to Miami. So I'm going to Columbus, Ohio next week. And, so things like that. And I think that you have to use data and humanity at the same time. And, and this is an older show. This has been on the air for a long time. And they don't want to age out. They love their jobs. They love being connected to the audience and all that kind of stuff. They love being the kings of Columbus, let's say. And at the same time, you just have to escort them through a new mindset. And I think that data helps you get there. So we do dial testing, we do brand testing, we do strategic testing with most of our stations, in large markets. And I just kind of package up a story to present to them, so that way in 3 or 4 slides we can start our work together.
Yeah, I was going to say the 3 or 4 slides of data. In my experience, many morning shows particularly aren't that interested when you crack out the graphs, right? They don't want to see that many. So you've got to set it up well, maybe 3 or 4, right?
Boil it down for them because they just don't have the time. And by the way, none of my meetings last more than an hour now, because if they just finished a show, they got up at this time, they drove into work or took something in, and it's like you really got to kind of beautifully attack the issue so that way they hear it and move forward. Data can help you. Data does help you, actually. We do so much market testing with our shows because we really care about our shows, and by the way, we make some decisions off of data of whether or not there's a future here.
We hope there is.
If I may ask, just a really quick follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there like any top 3 takeaways you can give all of us based on all the research you've seen, worldwide? Are there like some generic takeaways for talent? What to do and not to do?
Come to my session tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
He's ahead.
Because I am using 2 research examples of what are some insights that have helped shows. But I didn't mean that. The answer is yes. I really believe that they need the big picture of what radio is and where they sit in the market. And it's fascinating to see a radio station being judged by research and a radio show being judged by research, and then when you ask a verbatim or when you ask a simple question of when you don't like that show or the station, the show's on vacation, what do you listen to? And they basically say nothing, or they say Spotify, or they say it's usually not another radio show anymore. So you have got to protect yourself on all of that. And I think that use research is a beautiful way. I got a couple slides for you tomorrow in my session. So I'm sorry I didn't bring my deck.
Good tease ahead for the
Yeah.
session tomorrow, which is at 5 o'clock in track 1, if I remember correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, say your name and the location.
Yeah.
How they can find you.
Hi, Dennis. My name is Andrej from Bauer Media, Slovakia.
Okay.
So I have a couple of questions. The first is we have 4 radio stations in our portfolio. One of them is Radio Express, which is the leader for more than 20 years. So the question is, how can we motivate our hosts who works for #1 radio station, and sometimes they lost the motivation, so we are working for the #1 radio station, so what do you want? So what is the way to motivate them to be still better and better?
Hire somebody younger.
But it's really hard to find the talent. I know. Small
Find the
market
time.
Like Slovakia is, so it's really hard. And the second is, the second question is, because we have also the radio, which is oriented for the young or youngest generation, and how can we work with ego of the hosts, because they are very talented. They are talented, but also quite famous on Instagram or TikTok. But in the radio station, their popularity is not so big. But they think that, okay, we are stars, so how can we battle, or how can we work with ego of a young generation of...
I'm glad you mentioned the ego word. Let's talk about ego for a second then, okay? Big egos. Radio presenters need to have some ego, because it's what drives them in the morning when the red light comes on.
Yep, they care about what people think. They really do. So let's start with that.
Okay. What happens when the ego gets a little bit out of control and you need to rein it? What's your trick on that one then?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but since the pandemic, egos have gone down a little bit.
Okay.
And
what do you think that is?
I think just the lay of the land changed in 2 years, you know. So I think they're fully aware of how they got there and how they need to rebuild their shows, And so ego. But there's a great book called Ego is the Enemy. I gave it to a few of my wonderful personalities, and they love the book. Their ego is in check. And they really realize from a global perspective that that's something that they need, they love, and then at the same time, it drives them, Motivation, I was a silly answer on that one. Motivation is, as a coach, I really need to say this. I know you want to move on.
No.
As a coach, you cannot leave them where they're like a puppy, bad dog, they pissed all over the couches and everything else like that. They have to do a great show tomorrow. And you never leave them with a bad moment. It's just 100% support. And that way they perform a beautiful show tomorrow. So never forget, as a coach, they have a show to do tomorrow. Something's pressuring them. You probably might, I embrace venting. Is that a good term? Venting.
Venting, yes.
Yes. So when a personality I always tell them, call me. I got a vent call yesterday.
So you're like a big sponge and you absorb their anger.
Vent to me, not your team, not your boss. Pick up the phone and call me when something's really awful, and get it out of your system and go for it tomorrow. So, I get a lot of vent calls.
You're kind of like a radio therapist then.
You are. Well, that's a true thing for a coach is, and a program director is too, frankly, sometimes. You don't need to name any of the personalities, but have you ever witnessed a tantrum? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
give us a flavor of a tantrum.
Oh,
I'll trade you
chairs
mine.
flying is a beautiful
I had a
thing.
presenter. He was unhappy with the phone system in the studio, and the call didn't come through, and it was glitching on the line. And he went, "Yeah, thanks for calling." And he closed the microphone, and he ripped the phone system out and threw it across, and it smashed into 100 pieces.
Yeah.
That was at 8:10 in the morning, and I was producing that show. That was a fun moment.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Anything
See,
like that?
No, chairs have been flown,
Chairs?
or
Okay.
out of frustration.
Really?
And I think because you're dealing with perfectionists and people who want to be judged, in a very, what the personalities, what people think is the most important driver. So you have to be on their side to make sure that you coach the version of what people think, what the audience thinks of them, what the even people in the radio station think of them, and move forward. So there we go.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, we have one down here, which is fabulous. Keep your questions coming for Dennis Clark here, live in the Programming Summit.
Hi, I'm Katarina from Switzerland, working
Hi.
for a network of radio stations. We launched a talent development school
Oh, good.
in our company. So we have 23 talents now, but the stations face the problem of convincing young talents for radio, because they say, like, I have social media, I'm already a presenter, why should I do my
That's right.
great storytelling in radio, which no one is listening? But, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. My thing is, we have hired some of those people that are social media stars and things like that. And, it's funny with podcasting too. And they realize that because, to answer that part of the question and sort of your, data question, is they're so used to seeing data on how their videos perform or how their podcast is performing or something. So, and they get it immediately. They see if that clicked. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of talent that we have a system that is in some of our studios, so we see how a break performed digitally on our app, okay? And so we're beginning to give people that sort of information, yes. The thing is you have to help them understand that they are multimedia personalities, okay? And radio really helps them connect with an audience they are not connecting to. And I think when you explain that well and they understand it, and you can show them how their show is beginning to grow, it takes a little time, that sort of thing, because it's not so perfectly measured, you approach their ego, again, that comes up with a way to make them bigger stars is probably what they're looking for, and they have to know it's 100% worth it. I really do think it's that
Yeah,
easy.
but the thing is, they don't believe you when you tell them, like, you become a bigger star with radio. Normally they're like, why? I'm not listening to radio, no one is listening. So for some stations, there are great talents, but they don't want to work for radio. They want to they want to run your social media, okay, but they don't want to run a show.
Well, then, you know what? You have just answered your own question, is let them run your stations, and don't put them on the air. They think that it's a waste of their time. I agree, again, on the generational thing. It's like, if they don't want to do it, don't force them, and but many people do want to do it eventually. They get the bug, they see the opportunity and the possibility of them connecting with other people that don't connect on social media.
I've got one for you, which is about chemistry. Chemistry between, particularly on breakfast shows, morning shows. When the chemistry isn't working and you've got presenters who may be on contracts and you're like, right, how long would you go to try and force that chemistry that might not be there in the hope that it becomes a thing and they start to click? Or where's the point where you go, it doesn't matter how we coach these people, this chemistry is not working on air and we need to make a change?
That is a weekly problem, okay? Because we, sometimes I'm not in the big conversations on how shows get put together. They just hire them, this and this and this and this, and I call that an arranged marriage show.
Right.
And the problem is they immediately don't like that. There could have been something in their past from 3 years ago that one said something awful and it got back to her or him. And, you know, you have to deconstruct why the chemistry isn't working. And you have to have the vision to see why the chemistry could work. But my sort of like shortcut on that is take them out to dinner. Shared experiences. Go see a football game. Go to, you know, a Christmas tree lot and sell trees and give them to the homeless. Start doing something. Start collecting toys. And I think that always helps. Shared experiences is my answer. And chemistry starts to develop.
I was working at one station. We were looking for a female co-host to the main male host. And we had a number of options. And rather than force the arranged marriage, we said to the host, hey, we'll give you some money and go to the pub every night with these 4 different people. And whoever you have the best time with, we think we'll hire them, right? And it worked, okay? Because they had a couple of drinks, they had a laugh, and it was kind of like, it wasn't a date, but it was certainly a chemistry meeting that was fueled with a couple of drinks, which loosened everybody up. And he went, yeah, number 2, definitely, number 2. I can have so much fun with her.
Yeah.
And he did, and it was a great show and got the numbers, you know. So there's different ways of arranging your marriage, I think.
Yeah. I mean, don't force it, you guys. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it will never work, cut bait as soon as possible. But at the same time, do everything you can to try to make it work, because they both want to be there. If they do, that's great. But if something's not working, the listener hears it too, and that's not good. You know, they go, I mean, I see so much research, again, the data question on, I think they hate each other. I heard they hate each other. They can't stand each other.
Some shows do, though.
Yes.
Off air, not the best of friends. Okay. Are you scratching your head? No, you are scratching your head. Okay. Any more? Come on, let's have some. Yes! Oh, we got a question at the back here. This will be a corker, I'm sure.
Hello, Dennis.
Oh, hello, Helen.
Helen Thomas, BBC Radio 2.
Yes, you are.
So look, you have had a really long and illustrious career.
Oh, thank you.
You have. So I wanted to ask you, what is the one thing that you've done where you feel you've had the most impact and you are proudest about?
You know, I think Elvis Duran, and I will tell you why. I really... I met him. I was working in the UK for several years, based there, and I had to come home finally. You know, it's like Heathrow wouldn't let me in anymore. They go, we have too many stamps from you. You live here and you're lying to us. Bye-bye, you know, kind of thing. So they, you know, Steve Rivers, who was the program director of KTU and Z100 in New York, said, I just called him and I said, hey, I'm looking for a job. And he goes, I've got the perfect one for you. I need you to consult this brand new morning show, an arranged marriage of 8 people at the time. It was the Z Morning Zoo, Elvis and Elliot and the Z Morning Zoo. And I started working with them in '97. And the rest is history, and we have beautifully evolved that show through 9/11, through all kinds of flooding issues and, you know, his birth into syndication. And I think that almost every visit, we really moved the show forward. So I think that's the biggest... You know, oh, by the way, I'm mentioned in Elvis Duran's book, so I think that also helps. But, you know, no, it really is an accomplishment, because that is a massive, massive show in the United States that I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed working from the ground up into what it is now. Breakfast Club, Bobby Bones in Nashville, has been a wonderful evolution of shows. I'm working with a few shows now that are just beginning their career starts. So the Fred Show in Chicago, the Jubal Show in Seattle, which is also syndicated. Both of them are starting to get some traction. So I just love morphing shows into complete success stories where you know what the listener wants, and you also know if those people on the show can deliver what the listeners want. Make sure there's places inside the show for all that. But Elvis's show is the answer, I guess. Elvis Duran. He's been a Radio Days speaker before, so.
Yeah. Just on that, so his show and his station. So how old is Elvis now? Right.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I know.
Do you think well, I think you do know, but do you think the listeners care that he's on a top 40 station and he's a bit older? Because there will be people in the room who've got heritage radio stations, broadcasters who've been on there for a long time, but are still kind of playing pop music. Is that okay still?
Absolutely. And I tell you what, we have TikTok, Instagram, and everybody else to thank, because some of these posts are using great songs that these, as backgrounds or moments. He does sort of wake up in the morning and go, God, Sabrina Carpenter again, And
we'll do that.
All of that. But at the same time, he is connecting with the audience. He loves the music. He loves the songs. I think there was a period there where he really didn't like the songs. And that's the period when I kind of got hired, because it was sort of the end of the alternative period of Pearl Jam and Red Hot Chili Peppers every 15 minutes and things like that. And he discovered Backstreet Boys, Britney, and NSYNC, and the rest is history. So
okay, so older presenters can still be on younger formats as long as they stay relevant and surround themselves with a great team.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any more for the floor? Yes, we got
Hello.
one here from
Hi.
Danny Linzer. Here we go. I should fill the space between the microphone and this.
Please ask questions.
Okay.
But
Hi, I'm Danny Linzer. I'm from Udrai, Hit Radio Udrai in Austria. And I guess if you have any advice on passing on the torch, if you have like a really big, well-known talent presenter that is very famous, and his time has come, and you're getting in new people, you're passing on the torch. Do you have some input on that, on what not to do, the do's and don'ts?
I really believe you have to celebrate their career, as they, it's really funny because in the States, we had Oprah Winfrey retire at 25 years. We just actually recently had Pat Sajak retire from Wheel of Fortune on TV, and everybody knew he was moving on, and my Ryan Seacrest, who I work with, was the new host and things like that. You have to celebrate them and their impact constantly, and I think that's part of the storyline. The other thing that I will say is try to find a place for them if they still are willing and wanting to perform on a daily basis. Sometimes they're mad and they go, okay, forget it, no. And but oh well. But you just know that your heart is always on the side of their amazing 25 years. Pat Sajak's 35 or 40 years on Wheel of Fortune. But in radio, we've had many personalities that have morphed onto other brands. One is in Seattle, CHR Major. His name is Bender. I know, British people. Ha ha ha. So, sorry, it's a British thing. So, but anyway, his name is Bender. His wife was Jackie. Bender and Jackie were legends in the market. And Bender now does our classic hits and doing really well in the mornings in Seattle. So, you got to find out what they want too. And some people aren't willing to retire or pasture time. And they really want to, no, I'm in it, I promise. And that actually, back to motivation, that is what motivates them to continue to perform because they don't want to be retired, so be honest with them.
There's a nice kind of handshake moment as well between the person who's kind of moving on and the new person, almost like I'm endorsing you, you're the next one, passing the torch to the new generation and trying to, so the old show doesn't just end and they never mention the new show. There's a kind of meeting of minds and the new person's coming on and all that. Yeah, that's a nice thing to do, I think.
Udry is a legend, and so are the performers that work there. And I honestly think the question is very valid. I understand that. And okay, hi. Yes. So, but I would celebrate them. Just start there and see how it lands. Is my answer. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Okay, we got one at the back there. We need to hand the microphone over. I'll fill the time and space. We got about 10, 15 minutes to go. We got a great lunch coming up. And we got a.
Oh, it's Peter Vok. Hi, Peter Vok.
Hey, Dennis, and thank you for an amazing session. Hey, radio friends, good to see you again. Dennis, you are amazing at your work.
Oh, come on.
Tell a little bit about the structure that you have for a coaching session, how you do it, that could help programmers their meetings with their air staff. So how do you structure a meeting today? You used to do the letter, you used to do a whole structure around it. Now you do it in a very easy way, right?
Yeah.
Like you told me in Paris. Can you talk about that and how they should coach personalities?
I think, it's funny. Peter and I worked together in Paris at Energy, and you have to catch them in the act of doing things right and celebrate those moments. It's like, God, you guys did that. And you knew it was uncomfortable for the team or the host. Oh, did I just give it away? It was a team thing. And, I think back to the chemistry thing, it was just work on that. Let's get that right. And so celebrate the win, okay, or two. I usually give them what I call poster points, which is just the things to work on, and then as you do the next coaching session, number one is celebrating the win or two, and give more work-ons at always, because they want to evolve. They want the feedback. They want to know how they can be better. And Paris is France, these are national stations, are very competitive, We should have a radio days in Paris one year.
Well, we did. We did.
That's right. I brought one of my air talent.
The only thing I remember about it was bread. There was so much bread. There was bread at every opportunity, which was
But
great.
Greece and Athens and the networking that happens here, I'm fully aware, very aware of the market. And competition is so damn good to get motivated personalities on the air. So keep doing that. Keep using the fact that you want to be better and you want to have a larger audience. You want to see that point two. And for them, sometimes they don't realize how big the point two is. We are all in, if you can just say growth, we did it, please do that. And we have problems like that in the States all the time.
One from me. You talk a lot about morning shows where, for many stations, the massive audience assembles every day. In 2025, what makes a great morning show? What's happened to mornings over the years now? Where are we now with morning shows? Is it about talking about what's going on at the Grammys and Kendrick Lamar and that? Or is it about the personality's own life as well, or is it a combination of all of those things? What do you think?
So I think some of the satellite stations, we have Sirius XM and we have Apple Radio, that are trying to be relevant, and things like that. There's nothing better than when they actually come to radio. These listeners, they trust radio for our news, by the way, more than television now, and we keep triple testing that to make sure that has not broken, So I think with radio, we play our cards, we show our sources is what we call it. And that way, and television doesn't, TV and internet and all that kind of stuff refuses to share their source. And I think that makes a personality really valuable. Like, look, I read this on Reddit. I read this on And if you notice, it's a style and technique. Anybody familiar with Stephen Colbert on the Stephen Colbert Late Night Show? Okay, watch him, because his monologue is all about him showing his sources as well. So I think that's one of those little style things. Mention where you saw that, or how you got that fact, and then bring it to the show of any kind. So it could be, like the Breakfast Club is really big. We develop our topics out of anything that's in the news. And, we had 3 plane crashes in a week in the United States, and we just went with, are you afraid to fly? And have you, and it was fascinating to hear people say, a couple of listeners, I was there that week, I flew to New York and back, I'm fine. Yeah. But, it's interesting how, topicality, being in the moment, now is my favorite word to use. That's one of the ingredients I use with all radio shows. You want to do something? Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to.
More questions.
Yes. We got more questions. So let's do. Okay. As you're up there, let's do one. Let's do one for the back, and then we'll come to.
Sorry, it's me again.
Oh, hi, Oman. I want to come to Oman, so I'm going to find you.
I'd love to have you.
Okay. It's beautiful.
It is quite gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Very peaceful. Okay. First off, Elvis Duran is 60. And
yeah, okay. You said it, not me.
Okay. I wanted to ask, so of course you've worked with like really big stars, the biggest stations, Mario Lopez, Ryan Seacrest, all these guys.
Okay.
And them being on the #1 station, great, fantastic. But you've also worked with other stations that are not as successful as, let's say, iHeartRadio, The Breakfast Show. When you're working with stations that actually have a lot of competition on their own level, what's the best way to retain talent when you're not #1?
Wow, look at you. Let's see. Retain talent. It's weird how a human being can actually take them out themselves if they realize that they can't play anymore, okay? So I don't mind if somebody calls and says, hey, look, I'm moving on, I was working for a show called The Woody Show in Los Angeles. And one producer came to us and said, I'm moving on, I hate the hours, blah, blah, blah. Great producer, by the way. And he's gone. So it's just, it's sort of like, if it's natural departure, great. Their head's not in it, except thank them profusely. Maybe we work together again, that kind of thing. Hug them out the door. Next, get somebody better who wants to be there. So that's my opinion. Retaining talent is tough because there are shows that I have nurtured over the years that are my competitors now, and it sucks. I hate it, I know they love me. I know I brought them up to a point in their career, but for some reason they saw that they didn't have a career future with Clear Channel or iHeart at the time. They got a job offer. So my competitor, our competitors know I work with certain shows. There's this weird, understanding that, oh, that's a Dennis Clark show. This guy must be, this kind of thing. And they kind of poach our shows. But they know that they want to work with me. Sorry about that. That's my answer. No, but they know that I will love them all the way through their career goals and things like that. So embrace the career goals. Make sure they want to be there. If they don't want to be there, thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes just
good luck.
Show them some love as well. Sometimes they want to leave because they're not getting any love.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you show that you care about them and you love their show and what they do and you spend time on them, the one biggest thing you can give to your presenters is your time.
Yep.
right? Show them you love them, and they'll stay with you. You know. We had one down here from Mikkel from P3. Yeah.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Denmark,
Hi,
Danish
Denmark.
radio,
Perfect.
The public service broadcaster. I work with talent every day, which is
Good.
like
See, we
amazing.
need you.
Yeah, thank you. They are all very motivated and they all want to evolve. And I would love to come back on Thursday and say, I have this message for you guys directly from Dennis Clark. This is the most important advice for new people on talent and radio when you begin.
New people.
Yeah.
Come see my session at 5. Bring your phone. Take pictures of slides. No, so you asked a similar question. What did you ask me about? Okay. My opinion right now is that we should be creating vibes on radio. So please, everybody has a different language word for that, okay? Vibe is the most authentic piece of what radio could be right now in 2025. So my answer is it fun? Is it exciting? Do they sound like your friends? Would you hang out with these people if you were to meet them? And which is, by the way, some questions that we ask in our research. And if they were to, have a little party, would you come? Kind of thing. Oh, I'd love to meet so-and-so. It might not be the host, but it's somebody. If you have a multi-personality show, vibe is vibe. Okay, who does not know vibe? Or does everybody get vibe? Everybody gets vibe. All right. Vibe is so key, and I think that if a listener, one listener, I have to constantly coach 2 things, by the way. Make sure that these new kids, so all these whatever, they learn mic technique, because I am going, oh my God, I can't stand it. It's not a podcast. It's not a, whatever. And it's like, they don't know this, and the logo's so beautiful. And speak into the mic. So that could be the thing you need to work with them on. But at the same time, vibe is my answer of what they provide for that one core listener, one key listener that's in your market.
I think vibes come from not only the vibe on air, but vibe comes from the culture at the radio station as well.
Yeah.
The vibe in the office. It's funny, I go to lots of different radio stations in different countries, and you can walk in, and you'll probably feel, you can walk in and you can sense if there's a vibe at that radio station. If the music is on, it's pumping. There's one station I go to which will remain nameless. There's always something happening when I walk in. Always something going on. I'm walking in, there's a massive vibe. Recently, I walked in there, and there was a real-life ostrich doing a shit on the carpet in the radio studio. I was like, whoa, this is what's going on here?
That's not a vibe.
That was a vibe. That was a vibe. You had to be there.
All right.
So bring live animals to the studio.
Definitely.
Okay, there's your answer. Yeah.
All for the animals.
Yeah.
Okay, we got time.
Send me an email Friday. Let me know how that goes.
We've got
Hello,
a couple
one
more.
more
Gonna
here?
squeeze
Yeah.
a couple more in. Okay, one over there.
Hello, Dennis. Hello, everybody. I'm
Hi.
Pedro from Portugal. In a sequence of the question asked before, I was just wondering what was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
We've had a few. It's really interesting. I actually call that, we were talking about it at dinner last night. Personalities, radio people, can self-destruct. So I get very mad at myself when a personality self-destructs and I didn't see it. I didn't read the tea leaves. And I think that that hurts me, because there goes a show I put my heart and soul into, and they just lost their minds, so, oh well. That's a loss. I do consider self-destructive personalities a loss. But I stay in touch with them, oddly enough, because I don't want them to self-destruct in life. And, I still call them. I still, see them, and if I'm in town or something like that. And I think self-destructive people sort of need to know that they're valued. They did offer value. How you doing? Are you healthy? They know they made a mistake, so I will never accuse them of that. And they will miss probably look at you, Mr. Portugal, asking a very deep question. And I have a deep answer, but it's really emotional and it's quite sad sometimes. But those are the losses where I missed it. I didn't see it. I didn't understand they were having problems at home. I didn't understand that there was an addiction problem. I didn't understand that there was that their parents were dying, and they never want to share that on the air, obviously. But I forgot to ask, or I forgot to kind of get involved, with them. And when you really understand them, and as a coach, how you can help them and compartmentalize things, they don't self-destruct is my answer. So,
good one.
Is that why you asked that, or is there another story?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we got time for, I think, two more questions. Let's do this one here first, because the microphone is closer.
All right.
Hi.
Hi.
Niels from the Netherlands. I have a question.
Wow. Competition in the Netherlands is really good.
Absolutely, yeah.
538 is the only station I know. I know a couple of other ones. Q is here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All here.
Okay.
I have a question in relation to the vibe that you guys were talking about, because I agree it's very important, and I also understand as a coach, you can't change all of that by yourself, but they say culture trumps strategy. So what if the vibe is wrong, and how do you deal with that? What can you do?
Keep going. You gotta get it going. If you see it as a coach, so you asked me as a coach, right?
Yeah.
If you feel it, you see it, you know the potential in everybody, and it could be the afternoon show, one guy by himself, and you hear it and you see it. I'm a big example guy, so if I hear what he could be like in Boston, I have a really excellent afternoon show now that is pure vibe, and it's definitely in benchmarks and all that kind of stuff. And we built events inside the show, and it doesn't matter what they say or how they talk about it and who opens the mic and what they say. It has to be the three of them together. So it's the V-Bros on KISS 108. Please listen. So use an example is my answer, go find yourself an example of something that you hear that they can hear equally. And you have the vision, and just go, I know we can do this. You're so close. But we just don't need to be, I overuse the word plastic. Stop being so official. Stop being so plastic. Stop being so perfect. And I think that perfect kills vibe.
There you go. Perfect kills vibe. We've got time for one more at the back. One more at the back. That's a good line. Perfect kills vibe.
It does, yeah.
You're going to have that one.
Oh, it's on the slides.
Yeah. Are you doing a session by any chance?
Tomorrow at 5.
5? Okay, go ahead. Got it. Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
I'm Maria.
Hey.
Squeeze another one in there. Go.
From Thessaloniki, Cosmo Radio.
Ah, hello.
How are you?
Very good. I've been to Thessaloniki many times.
Yes, I know.
You know?
I know. Yes.
I sneak in. I don't tell anybody
I know
I'm there.
a lot of things about you.
Sounds a bit threatening.
I love Thessaloniki, everybody. Go. Check it out.
Thank you. I would like to ask, how do you handle bad behavior in talents?
Are we done?
Give me a tight 30 seconds on bad behavior.
I think we're out of time.
Usually people that are inside the star system, they have certain qualities that we put up with or we don't.
Ooh.
And that's my main question. I mean, like, you tolerate it, you set boundaries, you say thank you next. That's my question.
So Boy, that is a great question. You've really, yes, we don't tolerate bad behavior anymore in 2025. Is my answer at our company, in Los Angeles, in the United States with iHeartMedia, and we don't do that because it risks endangering our relationship with the listener if the listener found out about it. Okay. Thank you, bye, is my harsh answer right now. But if it's involving verbal abuse, if it's involving sexual, stuff, and I think that they have to be talked to fast. Don't let it keep going, and then finally we talk about it, and we might actually talk about it before it's too late. Somebody has to come in and actually talk to them or, about that. And you have to get behind it fast because they don't trust the other people don't trust management if you didn't address it. And they're mad at you, they're mad at their station, they don't feel safe coming in. So I'm really talking about actual experience. When those things happen, you gotta move on. The harsh American term is, yours is thank you, bye. We call it cut bait. We're out there fishing, cut the line, we're done. Thank you for your service.
There we go. We are out of time.
One more.
No more.
Look,
no,
one more.
no,
one more. I can't end on that note.
Oh, okay. There's two more, and now there's three more.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, quick questions, quick answers. And
all right, good.
Then we will cut bait. Okay.
Mike,
Hi.
right there.
My name is Kylie. I'm from Cyprus, from XFM Cyprus.
All right, hi.
I am a talent, so
perfect.
I want to ask you the same question, but all the way around, because I feel that my team is strong. My team is the best team, actually, is the best radio in Cyprus. And I feel that sometimes we need to talk to the other part. Like, we feel like we put so much effort that they feel secure about us. Okay, the guys are going to do it. The talents are going to go. They're going to do it perfectly. People love them. But I don't know how to connect all the way around. Just what the...
So I actually have a part two to that. Okay. Your company, your radio station, are you the program director, manager?
No, I'm a talent. I'm a radio producer.
Talent. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, I thought you were Italian.
No, I'm
okay.
Cypriot.
Anyway, so here I am. I love Italians. So
you're gonna love
better.
Cypriots too.
I love producers. You need to go to your management and say this has got to stop. We need to create a zero tolerant policy. That this is absolutely unacceptable activity that is happening inside your offices, and they must be spoken to, and then that way the people that are affected, including the offenders, all understand they cannot operate that way in the building anymore. And it's not funny, it's not cute, it's not hilarious, it's not, oh, that's just them. I mean, really, if it's really bothering the entire team, let's get that little cancer out of them,
We are over. Okay. If it's 30 seconds, we'll do
Real quick.
it.
Oh, God.
Hey, Dennis. My name is PJ Butter. Did radio in Los Angeles for 30 years. I'm sure we've crossed paths at some time.
Okay.
Presenter for Radio Express. Just want to ask you real quick, because in the U.S. and everywhere else with budget cuts, me being a casualty of that a year ago from K-Day, and if anyone's looking for talent, I'm here. But how do you fight for talent when it comes to the company that needs to cut the talent? Even though they're great talent, they are. How do you deal with that?
30 seconds.
Relevance is key. Come to my session tomorrow. You'll see that. And it's really being embedded with the listener, embedded with the radio station, embedded with the radio station's needs. And go out on sales calls in the United States right now, because we are the frontline support for our sales departments. And if we walk into an advertiser, I'm talking about KISS, I'm talking about Z100, I'm talking about Elvis, talking about Ryan, Sissany, everybody, Big Boy. We all get in a hire car and we all go see a client in Newport Beach. And that sucks, but we're doing it. we're putting on the Dog and Pony Show, and we're being very supportive of our brand. So yes, it's a big picture thing. I know. I gotta go. I could talk forever.
Dennis Clark.
Thank you, Nick.
Has a round of applause first. It's always wonderful to hear Dennis talk. He's got a whole session tomorrow, as you
in case you forgot.
5 o'clock in track 1. We're going to do lunch now. We're back in here at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Have a good lunch.
You guys.